Cindy Gallagher here. I just want to provide you a brief update on the Board of Regents meeting last week, as well as one legislative item. I know that this is going to be short because this morning I was reading an article that our communications office sent around last Friday on their education news roundup. And it was basically, the title was 6 Ways to Improve Your Memory a Few Minutes at a Day. So here I am trying to remember last week, so I know that this is going to be very, very short. The last video was at the height of the CBT testing and certainly the challenges of that. And I had indicated during that video that there was going to be a Board of Regents meeting the next week. Well, it occurred, and I was incorrect on one item. I thought it was going to be a major part of the agenda, and it was not. Before I go into that meeting, I just wanted to thank you all for many of you who sent me emails in regard to the challenges that you all face with the CBT testing. I got many emails from the travesties in terms of having to embargo your laptops and your computers, the number of carts that it took to transport all of the computers all over the place, the number of notices that you sent home to parents only to have, as in an attempt to clarify what was going to be happening the next day, only to have them be erroneous as soon as you put them in the backpack because of changing news from state ed. So again, thank you all for your patience in trying to work through it. I know it was challenging. I think one of the best emails that I received was from a principal whose student said, how can 8 million kids play Fortnite all at one time and New York State not figure how to upload student tests? Maybe the test designers of Fortnite should talk to the designers of the state assessment program. So that was a true email and out of the mouths of our students. Gotta love it, right? So the Board of Regents meeting, it always starts out with a full board, which means all regents are there. It's not divided by people on regent members on various committees. It's always video, always televised, live stream. And it was packed house. Everyone thought it would be in regard to the CBT testing, and it was not. It was an update on the ESSA implementation. The next meeting was in regard to charter schools. The next meeting was state aid rather. The next meeting was higher ed. CBT testing, no, was not discussed publicly until about 5:30 that night. And it was a very structured conversation. Regent Norwood did a fabulous job with the content, but he really did keep a very tight rein on the discussion. It was basically a reiteration of many of the things that you had seen come out from state ed or found on the news. Certainly it discussed with the vendor, Questar, some history about how that contract came into existence, a recap of the problems though that state ed had with Pearson. So it was really a look at to see what was the reason for some of the travesties, as well as what would be done to improve for the math CBT testing. Wish I had more specifics to provide you, but as I said, it was a very scripted, rather short conversation at the end of the day. There are 2 items that I want to bring to your attention, though, that occurred in the higher ed portion of the agenda, and they have to do with new teacher certifications coming out. The first one will be in regard to students who participate in prep programs, teacher ed prep programs, starting in 2022. And that will require that all candidates have 3 semester hours of instruction in the language acquisition of ELL students, as well as 3 hours on the language and literacy acquisition for all students. It is an acknowledgement that the changing needs of our students in terms of language acquisition and how to better prepare potential teachers for that challenging job of making sure that all of our students have the language skills and development needed right from the start. And then the second one was in regard to professional CTLE, professional learning plans in districts. And it would increase the number of CTLE hours that you could acquire should you choose to be a first-year teacher mentor or a student teacher mentor. And those hours, I think I'm fairly accurate on this, but if it was 20 hours that you could claim as CTLE, it's raised to 25. If it was 25, it was raised to 30. So those are the 2 major pieces of the agenda, and Certainly in the next news and notes, look for a fuller description of all of the items as well as citations to those region discussion items. You can also find them certainly on the Board of Regents website, on the State Ed website. Lastly, I just want to bring you up to on a legislative item. Last Wednesday, the APPR piece of legislation was sent to the governor. So it is on his desk, as well as the budget bills. What that all means is then once it gets to his desk, he needs to take action within 10 days. So as of this minute, we are certainly awaiting that action. We have already been in many discussions with State Ed as well as our Education Conference Board colleagues regarding the APP legislation, what it may mean for regulations, how certain pieces could be interpreted, what kind of flexibility we would love to see provided to our districts, and making sure that the regulations certainly do not become an overreach from the intent of the statute. So we will definitely keep you informed of any occurrences immediately, and I thank you again. Have a great week. We'll talk to you soon.